डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Hello friends, students and learners of Indian Poetics Certificate course conducted and organized by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University. Let me start with our ancient culture of ashram education. In our past, there was ashram system where the students had to go to the ashram of the guru and learn from the guru. It was a wonderful example. I'm sure that many of you know about Lord Krishna, Sudama, who studied together at the ashram of Shandipani Muni. What was the culture? What was the kind of education? In ashram system, there was no inequality. All people were treated as equal. Sudama was a poor man, a poor boy, poor student, from poor family, and Lord Krishna came from wealthy family, and yet they studied together. Not only that, but Sudama was a senior student and Krishna had to learn so many things from him. In ashram system, there was one more thing. When two students met in the morning, they asked each other, "What did you learn last night, last day?" To learn something every day, to learn something every minute from every source is true education. This applies to modern education as well. We should learn from everybody, anybody, anytime, and from any source. This kind of learning is the real process of learning. Learning is not limited to classrooms. If you are students, you go to school or college, and then you think that I learn from my teachers, in my classrooms. That is not the right way. In fact, you learn from many, many sources. And in modern time, we have even more sources to learn from. So I welcome you to certificate course on Indian Poetics conducted by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, and we start our video lecture on Vakrokti. Vakrokti is a concept propagated by Kuntak. Kuntak is one of the famous poeticians in Indian poetics. The Indian aesthetics believes that ultimate aim of life is to experience union with the divine. What is the ultimate aim of life? What is life for? Why do we live? What is the purpose of our life? What is the goal of our life? The goal of our life is to experience union with the divine. Union with the divine means merging with Paramatma, merging with the divine power, which we may call God, Paramatma, Shakti, and so on. Now, this is the aim of life. Indian aesthetics also believes that literature or drama or all arts are not simply for pleasure, achievement of pleasure, but for experiencing union with the divine. Indian poetics focuses on Shabda and Artha. Indian poetics always focus on two things, Shabda and Artha. Shabda, which in English we call word, and Artha, which means meaning. Actually, the relation between Shabda and Artha are very important. Shabda and Artha are like Shiva and Parvati, like Shiva and Adya Shakti. They are united, inseparable. You cannot separate Shabda from Artha and Artha from Shabda. They are connected with each other very strongly, inseparably, and permanently, eternally. The concept of rasa is the central idea of aesthetics, which is related to drama, poetry, abhinay, and dance. The idea of rasa is the central idea of Indian aesthetics. It is connected with drama, poetry, abhinay, and dance. Rasa theory, which was propagated by Bharata Muni, is highly important in Indian poetics. Bharat Muni wrote a book called Natya Shastra, and he talked about Natya basically. But it is not simply for drama. It is connected with poetry, with abhinay, and with dance. Even in modern dance, one must remember Bharata Muni and his idea, the concept of rasa. When anybody acts, he or she presents certain gestures which also present certain rasa. For example, the rasa of love, the rasa of krodha, the rasa of hasya, and so on. These different kinds of gestures are related to abhinay and dance. In drama and poetry, the rasa is presented through words and their meaning. Kuntak was a famous poetician and literary theorist. It is believed that he lived between 950 to 1050 AD. He was a contemporary of Dhananjay and Rajsekhar. Kuntak was a famous poetician and literary theorist. It is believed about him that he lived during 1950 to 1050 AD. Kuntak took up the concept of Vakrokti from Bhamaha and others. the concept of Vakrokti was propagated by Kuntak, but he was not the exponent of this concept. Actually, he learnt it, he borrowed it, he took up it from Bhamaha and other poeticians. Bhamaha had said that without Vakrokti, there would be no beautification of poetry. Bhamaha was the first theorist who said that Vakrokti is very important. Without Vakrokti, there would be no adding of beauty in poetry. This means that Vakrokti is one of the important parts of poetics and aesthetics. Without Vakrokti, it is not possible to beautify poetry. Kuntak also regarded Vakrokti as the single most important as part of speech. Kuntak said that Vakrokti is a single important part, that is one of the features of poetry, of speech, poetic speech. This means that without Vakrokti, poetry is not possible, art is not possible, poetic speech is not possible. So Vakrokti is necessary. It was an artistic turn of speech. Now, what does Vakrokti mean? The word Vakrokti is combination of two words, Vakra, Ukti. Vakra means curved and Ukti means utterance, speech. This means that when you speak something, it should be curved utterance, which has a different meaning from ordinary meaning of a word. The word has a different meaning which you find in Vakrokti. It is an artistic turn of speech. It can be like Shlesha, pun, when there are two meanings of the same word, and later, of course, I'll give you examples of Vakrokti, but before that, I simply want to explain it to you that Vakrokti means curved utterance. It is an artistic turn of speech. There is a turn, curve of speech. So this means that Vakrokti is not a direct expression of a word. As I had told you earlier, when we say something like, say, table or chair or flower, we mean only as a Svabhavokti. When you say flower, it is flower. When you say table, it is table. When you say chair, it is chair only. But chair can have suggested meaning, Vakrokti also. Chair represents power. In politics, for example, people chase after chair. Now, chasing after chair is chasing after power. When we use the word rose, it is a flower. But when you say, a famous English poet has said, my love is like a red, red rose. Now, when the poet says about his beloved, my love is like a red, red rose, here rose symbolizes beauty, symbolizes extraordinary face of the beloved. Vakrokti is generated from creative faculty of the poet, Pratibha, Pratibhavan poet. Vakrokti comes only from Pratibhavan, that is genius kind of poet, and that is why Pratibha, genius, is the source of Vakrokti. Ordinary poet cannot generate Vakrokti. Ordinary writer cannot do it. It is presented by a genius poet who has extraordinary understanding of art, of words and their suggested meanings. The poet presents poetic language with Vaichitra, that is strikingness. Now a good poet presents poetic language. He does not use ordinary language, he uses poetic language which has a Vaichitra. The word Vaichitra comes from Vichitra, and Vichitra means striking, and Vaichitra means strikingness. It has strange meaning, stranger, queer, different, and suggested. There are two categories of Vakrokti according to Kuntak. Kuntak says that there are two kinds of categories. They are word and meaning. Ordinarily, the word presents only simple meaning. As I gave you the example of table or chair, table is a word and its meaning is we know what table is. But in poetry, in Vakrokti, the word has a poetic meaning. Word and poetic meaning. The poetic meaning is different from ordinary meaning. Further, we will discuss about Swabhavokti. Dandin has used the word Swabhavokti and Vakrokti. Swabhavokti is realistic meaning of the word. When we use any word for anything, object, it is the primary Swabhavokti. And poetic meaning is different. It requires suggested meaning which we find in poetry. In Vakrokti Jivitam, which is a book written by Kuntak, presents the following features of Vakrokti. Vakrokti Jivitam is the book authored by Kuntak. He presents several features of Vakrokti. He says, what are the features of Vakrokti? How does Vakrokti generate, or what are the sources of Vakrokti, and what are the features of Vakrokti? Number one is obliquity as the important feature of poetry. Poetry has obliquity. Obliquity means obscurity. Poetry doesn't have simple direct meaning. It is not like simple couplet, like we often say, something which is presented in a direct manner. But poetry has a deeper meaning, and deeper meaning can be presented in a oblique way, obscure way. In English literature, Robert Browning was such a poet whose poetry was difficult to understand. There is a humorous incident about Robert Browning. Once he visited some university or college and he talked to the students about his poetry, about other things, literature. One of the students asked him, "What is the meaning of this poem written by you?" Robert Browning said, "Only two persons know the meaning. Two persons knew the meaning of my poem, I and God. Now only one person knows the meaning, God." So this is a very humorous incident, but it means that poetry is not something that can be presented directly in a primary meaning. There is obliquity, obscurity, difficult to understand. And as I had told you earlier, between the lines, the meaning is hidden and it can be understood, it can be comprehended any time in a different way. And that is why in literature, we often find that the poem is comprehended, interpreted in a different way later. Even the poet doesn't know that I had said so. The poet may say, "I don't know. I didn't know this meaning." So this is called obliquity. Obliquity is the feature of good poetry. Good poetry is always has multiple interpretations. Multiple interpretations creates obliquity, creates obscurity. There is a poem by A.K. Ramanujan about old house where the family live with many relatives, right from grandmother, great-grandmother to small kids, uncles, aunties, father, mother, brother, sisters, wives, and so on, and children. Now, this poem represents India. I don't know whether A.K. Ramanujan wanted to do this, but if you read the poem, you can find the meaning that there is a kind of new meaning, Vakrokti, which is presented in a very different way. It represents India. India has multiple people, multiple languages, multiple religions, and multiple ways of life. So this feature is very important for Vakrokti. There is a striking mode of speech in Vakrokti. This is the feature of Vakrokti. It is not a direct mode, but striking mode. Individual talent of the poet is required to create Vakrokti. Vakrokti is not possible without individual talent of the poet. And it creates, Vakrokti creates aesthetic delight in Rasika, Bhavak, in reader, listener, spectator. So aesthetic delight comes from Vakrokti, which is created by the talented poet. It is different from matter of fact speech. Vakrokti is different from realistic speech, realistic language, realistic words. It is not a matter of speech, matter of fact speech. Matter of fact means realistic. It presents only things which are directly presented. Poetry becomes lively in Vakrokti. It has embellishment of words, embellishment of word and meaning. In Vakrokti, there is ornamentation, embellishment, beautification of word and meaning. Vakrokti is invariably associated with poetry, and it is connected with poetry. Without Vakrokti, poetry is not possible. Vichitti, the aesthetic effect is created by Vakrokti, and Vakrokti creates Vichitti. Vichitti means aesthetic effect on the reader, on Bhavak, and on Rasika Jana. According to Kuntak, Vakrokti manifests at 6 levels. Now, how does Vakrokti work? At what level? What are the levels of Vakrokti? Number 1 is phonetic level, where sound, that is Varna Vakrata, when you speak a word, not word but a letter, for example, when you say A, Om, it is Varna. In Om, there are 3 Varnas, 3 phonetics, A, U, M, and it means that it is Varna Vakrata. Lexical level is Purvardha Padavakrata. It is written level, printed level. When you read something, it is lexical level. The third level is grammatic level, which is called Pratyastha Vakrata. Grammatic level, the use of words as verb, object, word as verb, adverb, adjective, and so on. It is called grammatic level. And on grammatic level, there is Vakrokti. Sententious level, Vakya Vakrata, sentence. When there is a sentence that presents different kind of meaning, it is sententious level. Contextual level. Contextual level is Artha Vakrata. When a word is spoken, it has a context, it has a meaning, it has a sandarbha which requires the meaning, the cultural context, social context, philosophical context, and so on. Compositional level, Prakarana Vakrata. Composition means kind of genre. For example, when you say poem or novel, short story, they are all compositions. And compositions are Prakarana. Composition level is created by Prakarana Vakrata. Prakarana, chapters or compositions are a kind of levels in Vakrokti. There are 10 topics of Prakarana Vakrata and 7 types of Prabandha Vakrata. Prabandha Vakrata is different from Prakarana Vakrata. Prakarana Vakrata is compositional level, and Prabandha Vakrata is form, plot, idea, theme, and so on. Kuntak dealt with different categories of Vakrokta in his book Vakrokti Jivitam. According to Kuntak, there are 6 folds of Vakrokti which are connected with 6 levels. They are Varna, which consists of Sabdalankar and Varnalankar. Another is Padopurvardha, suggestive use of linguistic elements. Pratyaya, suggestive use of affixes. Affixes mean prefix and suffix. When you say misfortune, mis is prefix And when you say unable, able is suffix. So affixes consist of prefixes and suffixes. So suggestive use of affixes is called pratyaya. Vakya, sentences, prakaran, episodes in the plot, chapters and episodes. Prabandha means total plot, entire plot. Kuntak stresses on the creative use of language. He believes that language should be creative. There should be delightful union of words and meanings. It is a striking mode of speech which is created by poet who must have great genius. According to Bhamaha, Vakrokti was the basic feature of all Alankaras. Bhamaha believed that in all Alankaras there should be Vakrokti, curved meaning. Dandin divided poetic speech into two parts, Swabhavokti and Vakrokti. He said that there are two kinds of speech, which is Swabhavokti, that is realistic, ordinary, direct meaning, and Vakrokti is a curved utterance, curved meaning. There are two types of Vakrokti Alankar, Kaku and Sles. Sles means different meanings of the same word. The listener takes another meaning from what the speaker says. Sles, in English it is called pun. In Sanskrit, sles means a kind of figure of speech, poetic figure, which has different meanings in the same word. For example, this example is very beautiful. Radha and Krishna once talk. Krishna is standing near the door and Radha asks, "Kaun dwar par? Kaun dwar par? Who is at the door?" Krishna says, "Radhe, main Hari." Krishna says, "Radhe, I am Hari." Radhe says in a humorous manner, in a curved way, she says, "Hari ka kya kaam yahan?" Now, the meaning of the word Hari are two. One, Lord Krishna, and the other, monkey. Hari also means monkey. So, Radhe makes fun of Krishna and says, "What is the use, what is the importance of monkey here at my door? Why is monkey there?" Now, this is a humorous way of presenting Shlesha. Hari, the word Hari has two meanings and it is called Shlesh. So, this is a Shlesh Vakrokti based on Shlesh, based on Kaku. Actually, this is the meaning, this example of Radhe and Krishna is Kaku, that is humorous and satirical. And the other is Kaku Vakrokti, in which I give you an example. उसने कहा जाओ मत बैठो यहाँ. उसने कहा जाओ मत बैठो यहाँ. मैंने सुना जाओ मत बैठो. Now you understand that using only punctuations like pose, उसने कहा जाओ मत, pose, बैठो यहाँ. मैंने सुना जाओ मत बैठो. मैंने सुना जाओ मत बैठो. Now you understand that the meaning changes with punctuations only. In the upper example, which I had given you already about Radhe and Krishna, there is a slasha. Hari has two meanings. One is Lord Krishna and the other is monkey. Here there is no double meaning but only different in punctuation. उसने कहा जाओ मत बैठो यहाँ. मैंने सुना जाओ मत बैठो. Now you can understand that this is a different kind of vakrokti. Kuntak also accepted rasa's importance, but he stressed on vakrokti more. About his riti, marg, he involved rasa in it and he called it vichitra marg. And he says that the changes in famous literary works like Shakuntalam and Vikramavarsiya are vichitra marg. Kuntak didn't deny Dhwani, but he treated it as an aspect of Vakrata. He agreed with Dhwani, but he called it the part of Vakrata. He took Dhwani as Vakrata, which is related with Vichitti, poetic experience in the mind of the readers. So for Kuntak, even Dhwani is the part of Vakrata, Vakrokti. He believed that Vakrokti is a powerful figure of speech. It creates chamatkar. Here the word chamatkar means very strange, striking meaning, like miraculous meaning. Poetic speech is a embellished speech. His views on alankaras were quite effective and logical. Now, Kuntak's idea of poetic speech is very important, and he says that with Vakrata, with Vakrokti, the meaning becomes very effective and logical. So with this, we end our lecture, video lecture. I have given you two examples of Vakrokti. Actually, you can find it in any good poem. Without Vakrokti, poetic experience is not possible. Thank you very much. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परमं